Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. It's Navi versus the Alliance Game 2 in this best of 3. And oh boy, what a dominant display it was in Game 1. The Alliance, they gave up the first blood to Navi. It seemed like their execution wasn't there, and then it all came together with some pristine ancient stacking and then some even better execution in the fights and amazing team decision making. They are now leading Navi 1-0 in the best of 3. Earlier today, we saw Fnatic EU secure their place in the winners bracket finals. They are one best of 3 away from punching their ticket to China, but they'll have to fight their way through the Alliance or Navi. Right now, the Alliance looking like the stronger team, but that's what we have best of 3s for, Lumi. In the end, they're up 1-0, but they got to finish the deal.
Man, I heard punching the chicken. I'm like, I'm pretty hungry for a breakfast.
Is that like a euphemism for masturbation? I'm not really sure, but
wow, I don't. You just went there. All right.
I mean, why not? That's what it sounds like. Let's be honest. So,
first pick here with on the Radiant side, banning out both Lone Druid and as well as Nature's Prophet. That's actually something I've thought about. You know how a lot of the off-lane player only like plays 2 heroes, but those 2 heroes never actually get banned because you know it's tough. Like you don't actually ban Nature's Prophet first ban. So what does Namro Bulldog play now?
Yeah,
Bat's out. Prophet's out.
Come on, Bulldog. We've seen him play Bounty Hunter before.
Yeah, but no. I'm not gonna say he can't play any other hero. It's just that all these other heroes that he can't play, it's not exactly good for the current metagame. Like who picks Bounty anymore?
I think it can work. It's not.
I don't know.
It can work. It can work. I mean, I don't think it's something you pick every game, but against a team like Navi, who are a little bit chaotic from time to time, maybe there's a place for that. I don't imagine we'll necessarily see it this game, and maybe they go for the Darkseer. That's another hero he likes to play a lot, and could be a potent ally for the Magnus Keeper, the light combo. And then if you get low to some hard carry like a Void, maybe a Phantom Lancer, your control is incredible, your counter push is there, you can farm pretty effectively in the jungle or in the lane. So I think Bulldog will find something that works for him. There's still quite a few heroes left in the pool.
Well, we'll see exactly what S4 ends up drafting for him. Batrider is going to be the first opening pick here for Navi. I imagine it's going to be the lane the exact same way, which starts out the long lane or maybe migrating into the jungle, and it's going to be handled by Funnick. I think Funnick had a good game. I don't think he played badly by any means. He has some decent play, was able to dodge away from a couple of Dream Coils, had decent initiations, but it wasn't a game where Batrider would single-handedly take over like some bad games do end up being. So let's see if Funnick's going to have that kind of impact. To me, I don't think in this high stage of games where it's a Navi or a Fnatic EU or Alliance, we're not going to see a Batrider single-handedly win a game. So I imagine Funnick's going to give us a very good game, as imagined, but he's going to be somewhat kept under control.
We'll see. One of the more annoying spells for a Batrider is Mono Leak. You'd blink in, and then all of a sudden you're Mono Leaked. Even if you try to grab someone and force staff away, it's not a stun, but it can really limit your effectiveness in the course of a longer, more spread out team fight. So even though they don't have a great obvious counter to the Batrider yet, even something like Mono Leak can prove to be a nuisance. As for Navi, I'm curious to see how they react to that game 1. They started with a similar opening, the Rubik and the Batrider, and they'll go Storm Spirit for Dendi. So going for a more aggressive style in terms of their draft, not really sitting back and relying on just taking big team fights, but now finding more of a pick-off-oriented lineup. They still get the Kuroki Rubik, and a little bit of a change-up from Navi could be effective, and it will need to be, because the Alliance have the Kite B 1-2-3 punch we saw, which didn't actually work, but a combo that many teams have run, and if you get off to a good start, game is very hard to deal with if you're Navi, if you let the Alliance have a good start, and even if you shut them down or slow them down early, fully winning the game is quite a different matter.
I'm not sure if you could call it the Kite B 1-2-3 punch. There's very little punch in that. It's just like hissy fit.
I just say Kite B because they love this combo more than anyone else.
I know, but they don't run it that well. So
that's very true.
I say that, and I'm like a big Envy fanboy, so I don't know.
Wow, there was actually a Nyx in the pool. Didn't even realize that. So used to him being banned, but was available. Nobody wanted him.
Yeah, I guess when you ban, Nature's Prophet as one of your 2 heroes as well, Lone Druid, it gets leaked through. And the big reason they're taking it out right now is that Stormseer getting his Mana Burn is a huge deal. So, yeah, it makes complete sense. Meanwhile, Alliance is going to be banning on mostly carries, but looks like Chen is going to get snapped up here as well. So,
yeah, and obviously the Nyx, also Spike Carapace really ruins a Batrider, because you just walk in the Firefly, you tap your Spike Carapace, and suddenly that Batrider stunned for a long time. And Navi, they do have a potentially very strong team fight, with Rubik being able to steal RP in these fights potentially, and it's something that we generally see KuroKy is able to do. He seems to get more farm priority than some other teams Rubiks do in general, and we'll see if that's the case this game, but you expect Puppey to basically take one for the team and not have a whole lot of farm, and the Alliance expecting some jungle play, like you mentioned, will ban out the Chen. I think it's something Navi definitely could do, and if they wanted to dual roam, when you have a Keeper of the Light as a support, there's really not much you can do to punish the dual roam, so I think it's a smart ban to get rid of this Chen.
Yeah, I suppose the way you could punish it through roam is by getting very far ahead in terms of experience, which is something that we show, the Alliance support show that they know how to sack and basically have the most efficient jungle method. Another long lane being banned out. I'm very curious of what Admiral Bulldog end up being playing. It might just be that Bounty Hunter, although I'm not sure how much team fight effect it'll have for Alliance.
Yeah, let's wait and see. Darkseer the final ban, so yeah, really not a whole lot left for Bulldog, like you said. As for the Alliance, waiting for that final ban, and for them, they'll probably need... So we're looking at a Magnus likely to go solo mid for S4, something he handles quite capably. We'll see either EGM or Ake playing the Keeper of the Light, and then the Phantom Lancer to go to Loda. So pretty much for sure, that'll be a defensive tri-lane. Can't really see them getting aggressive with it. And thing is, I think what Navi look to do is kind of force Bulldog off the lane. At this point, it almost has to be a laning hero, like something. He doesn't play heroes like Enigma very often, so I doubt we'll see that jungler, or really at all. I mean, it's always things like a bounty hunter. I think he's played a little bit of Clockwork here and there. It's not really a signature hero for him by any means, and if they get some sort of hero that has to be in the lane, I don't know how effective that will be, because you already have a Rubik. Potentially, if Storm gets the safe lane, that's a very potent killing combo for something like a Bounty Hunter, if you have Sentry Wards, or potentially, I mean, I don't know what else would it be. So, yeah, I'm not so much concerned for Bulldog's hero pool. I'm just, the kind of heroes that you could pick at this point. There's just not much regardless of what offlane player you are.
Yeah, I think I've seen Bulldog run the Magnus offlane like once when they did dual lane mid and, dual safe lane. It didn't work out well that game. He didn't get too much thing done, and Magnus offlane is not that powerful because the Skewers is not that reliable as an escape spell. We're gonna see Jakira and Rubik as the dual support from Navi once again. So running mostly very much so the same hero, but a very different philosophy in terms of being played. Simply because Storm kind of warps how the game is going to be played for both his own team as well as the enemy team. It's going to be a lot more action paced. It's going to be a lot more kill oriented. And I wonder if it's going to be the quick Orchid build, or we're going to see something like a Bloodstone, or I don't think it will be, but maybe it's a Honey Breach of Travel build.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be the case.
I actually liked that build quite a bit, but I don't think we're going to see it. I mean, yeah. I think in Game 1 it maybe wasn't the best build, even though they won that game, but Game 2 I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic pickup for him, and we'll see what that build is, but really for Navi, I'm also interested to see what hvost is going to be playing. At this point, not really a whole lot of obvious... Well, there are heroes like the Faceless...
He could be the Storm. He could just be the Storm.
hvost?
Yeah. Safe lane Storm's definitely a thing.
I think they would sooner send Dendi on the Storm and put him safe lane than give it to hvost. I've never seen Dendi not play the Storm when Navi picks it.
I think I've seen him do it once.
Okay.
But maybe my
you might be right. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah, Clockwork's going to get picked up here by Alliance, so that's going to be the Bulldog hero. Again, like you said, one of the heroes that he's not exactly most known for, it's going to be Anti-Mage, and that's definitely our hvost hero. So Stormspirit on the mid lane against Magnus. I wish Blitz is alongside with me right now, and I want to ask him, who wins this lane? Because we generally don't see this lane matchup too much.
It really can go either way. I mean, a lot of it comes down to the supports, and you look at the supports this game, Navi have the heroes that are very capable of roaming mid and setting up kills. For Alliance, Keeper of the Light, not at all. I mean, maybe they'll go for something like a Bane or a Shadow Demon as their final selection. Shadow Demon could be quite a potent pick, considering there's both an Anti-Mage on one team and a Phantom Lancer on the other, and they need a kind of a setup utility support, I imagine. So if you get something like a Shadow Demon, maybe that Shadow Demon comes mid. I feel it's a pretty even matchup if played capably, and S4 Magnus, very solid hero player combination. Same for the Dendi Storm. It also comes down to the pooling as well, and maybe the Storm gets a little more harassment, but how hard can you really win mid when Magnus is bottle crowing? And the same for the Storm. Unless the supports come into play, I imagine it'll just be farm traded early. And for me, I think even the more interesting question is what will be the effect of these two mid heroes come mid game? Will they be finding the kills? Whose movement will be more effective, and who's going to have a higher impact on the shape of the game?
Yep. Last pick up here, looking for support. It could be something like a Shadow Shaman or a Lion. We've seen teams kind of counter the anti-mage, counter the storm with instant disable such as Hexus. It's going to be Lion.
Good call. So, the thing is, if they want Shadow Demon, I mean, that's not really a stun. So this will help you kill the anti-mage.
Yeah, or try to. As
yeah,
we saw.
Try to.
I think Era earlier says, yeah, early game I dodge you. Late game I come straight at you with the Mantis Tower, and you try to kill me then. So we'll see how the game goes. Navi is going to be selecting all the heroes already. So just as you imagine, hvost is going to be playing the anti-mage. Dendi on the Storm, Puppy on Jakiro, Rubik being played by Kurogi. The same hero and player alignment. And of course, Funnick on that Batrider once again.
Yeah, so for Navi, I think it's a game where maybe Funnick just starts off in the jungle. It's going to be very tough to get much accomplished top lane. Keeper of the Light and Phantom Lancer alone can pretty much just spam you out, and then you throw something like an EGM Impale over the top, and that makes life very, very unpleasant. So, on the side of the Alliance, we have the full Swedish arsenal at our disposal. S4 going to be playing the Magnus, has been pulled a set of tangos by Ake. Ake going to be handling that Keeper of the Light. Loda onto the Phantom Lancer for him, has been pulled a single set of tangos by EGM. This team loves their pooling. EGM going to be handling the Lion, and last but not least, it will be Admiral Bulldog with what I have to say will be one of the, well, actually maybe not a very tough lane, as he will be, just looks like potentially a 1v1 matchup for him.
Ooh, offensive trialing coming out from anti-mage? I can't expect that to be happening. Will it happen?
And doing it against the Keeper of the Light, Phantom Lancer tri-lane.
What the hell is Navi trying to do right now?
I'm not sure, but I feel the Alliance will be fully prepared for this. The Lion isn't the strongest tri-lane hero, but the thing is, Navi just doesn't have that much killing power. Unless the Lion was really out of position, I just don't see how they find a kill.
Yeah, for viewers at home and wondering why am I so harped up about this is, when you're running offensive trialing, you need to get kills because you don't have access into pools. Well, they do kind of on this particular camp up top, so maybe that's going to be part of their plan.
Not reliable, and
not reliable,
and you'll generally fall behind regardless, especially because they haven't done any warning. They will find Loda off the bat. He does have a point of Doppelwalk that will hurt their laning stage a touch. hvost has taken Blink, but he will get 2 illusions at his side, and well, Loda forced to take Doppelwalk at level 1 and forced to use it. He does have Keeper of the Light to give him some more mana. Speaking of that Keeper of the Light, 3 hero Illuminate off the bat. That'll be a tango for every single hero in the tri-lane, and Loda taking a lot of harassment. Play more aggressive than I feel he needs to, but he will be driven back.
He's got some pull reach, and he should be fine. Back in the mid lane here, this particular matchup, ooh, S4's got the better block by far, so Dendi should have the disadvantage, at least for now. Looks like we are going to have a little bit of technical difficulty. And of course, on the bot lane, who are we going to give the favor here? Batrider and Clockwork. I don't think Bat's ever going to get a kill, but I think Admiral Bulldog's going to struggle mightily in this lane.
It's a lane that Funnick should win. It's just, like you said, a lane where he probably won't get killed. So he'll stack the Napalm. He'll be able to outlast hit Bulldog. Bulldog can't really sit at the creep wave. Whatever cogs are down, he'll have to back off, and he'll try and burn away the Bat's mana, but Bat's always going to have mana for sticky Napalm. So I expect Funnick will win this lane and win it fairly significantly in terms of CS, but Bulldog will get his levels. He'll get probably his boots up, and maybe it's something like a bottle at, the 6-7 minute mark, and that shouldn't be too bad for him. So it's a lane that they'll win, but you really expect your Batrider to heavily win this lane. You're giving him safe lane farm, and you're delaying hvost's farm almost certainly by sending him top. So they're investing a lot in Funnick, and he will have to pay it back. They will catch out EGM. Gets caught by an Ice Pat and a lift. Can they bring him down? That Lion has low base armor and below average base move speed, but here comes the Illuminate. A blink forward from hvost. Actually blinks onto Ake, not onto EGM. He doesn't have a point in mana burn yet. Don't actually think he would have gotten the kill there anyway, but tries to kind of zone the Keeper of the Light out, and all things considered, they're doing a lot of harassment, but they haven't actually pulled. They haven't found a kill yet. It's a good start for Navi, I feel, it's considering the tri-lane they're up against, but they'll need more.
Yeah, they definitely do. Everybody has very, very poor CS. We're looking at, what, the 3rd wave, and the high CS is 5. Generally, you expect like 10 or 12 at this point. But yeah, it's going to be... this game is... It really shows how this game's going to be. It's going to be a very, very harassment heavy. And nobody's going to get too much farm, at least not judging from... You don't run an offensive trialing with the anti-mage and expect to rise. You expect to do kind of a lot of mid-game harassment. Look towards anti-mage to go something like an old school, like maybe a Vanguard Vlad's kind of build. We'll see.
Yeah, and it's Dendy farming the middle lane, laning against S4 at this point. S4, he had the better block that you mentioned, but hasn't stopped Dendy from getting off to a fast start. He was pulled a bit of regen. And top lane, maybe some potential aggression here. Nope, not for the moment. And Dendy's having a good start, and then Funnick is as well. So they're two heroes that can really make things happen in the mid game, rolling pretty quickly. And it is a lineup that I feel can snowball. Even if hvost doesn't get a whole lot, I mean, maybe this is even a game where he doesn't go for a Battle Fury. Maybe he just goes straight into Treads, into Vanguard, potentially even an early Vlads, and just tries to fight early on.
Yeah.
Considering the two solos they have, they could snowball pretty hard if they have a decent start.
Regeneration gets snapped up here by Dendy. Bottle's going to be coming through as well. So I think right now Storm is going to be looking to rise to level 6. Same thing for S4, level 6, and he starts to look for those solo pickoffs. Funnick on the bot lane starts to harass away. In this very passive game, I always ask this question when there's a passive game, who does it favor?
I feel both teams get something out of this laning stage, but for me, I guess the big question is PL getting farm top? And I look at the CS charts, he's not farming well there. And the reason I ask it is because they're not winning their solo lane. So then you really want to say, are they at least making up for it elsewhere with the safe lane farm? And at the end of the day, nobody's really farming well in the Alliance out of all three other cores, so I'm a bit worried for them. I would say Navi definitely coming out on top. It's not overwhelmingly so, but it's a decent little lead for them, up to almost 1,000 gold lead, and that's without any kills. That's with a PL Kodal tri-lane where there's constant harassment and you may have to buy some extra regen. So definitely advantage Navi, but it's early. It's nothing overwhelming, and I guess this game won't be decided by the laning stage. It's going to be one of those games where it comes down to those first few movements from the Storm Spirit, the Magnus, the Batrider, and the Clockwork. All four of these heroes can change fights and break them wide open. And who's going to be the winner and who's going to be the hero of those fights, we'll just have to wait a few minutes to find out.
Yeah, I think NT Mage is outfarming the PL simply because the supports on the dire side a little bit more kind of involved with the jungle pulling, so they're not really in the lane helping out as much, and as Loda's basically on his own island, even though he's on the defensive tri-lane. But here's the thing though, Batrider's completely outlaning the clock right now. If you look at the CS difference, clock has 5, Batrider has 22, and well, I think the difference is only going to grow bigger, and Bulldog a full level behind this point already.
Yeah, again, it's sort of what you expect from this matchup. At the end of the day, Clockwork can try and come in and cog the Batrider, but when he has a bottle, he'll be able to bottle Crow anyway. He can even maybe get some runes. Middle lane, it looks like Puppy roamed in looking for a gank, but S4 had the level 2 skewer, able to get away. Dandy, no points into his ultimate yet, as he's only level 5, so couldn't find the kill. They do attempt that early movement, and considering the start hvost has had where he's farming pretty well top, I think it's a nice little go. If they do get that kill, that's absolutely huge, because I feel this is a game where a fat Storm Spirit is virtually unstoppable. There's one hero that can really deal with him reliably, that's the Lion, but EGM isn't getting a whole lot right now. Only level 2, 5 minutes in, and not something you could really look to rely on against that Storm Spirit. He does hit level 3 now, but even so.
To be fair, EGM's pretty good, so...
They're all pretty good, Lumi. Come on now.
He's okay. He's okay.
Is this the insight that we pay you the big bucks for?
I mean...
EGM's pretty good?
Am I wrong?
No.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. All right.
Damn. He'll rotate mid. They are going to smoke up and look to go, and what do you know? Denny's going in right now. He may kill off S4. There's no mana for an RP. It's going to be first blood going to Denny. No, it's not. He needs one more zip. Here comes EGM in the nick of time and illuminate and impale, but it's not enough to kill off Dendy. S4, he wants to come in. He's bottling up. He has RP. He won't get it all. So they smoke mid and at least manage to save S4's life, but they don't find a kill. I mean, all things considered, a fortunate smoke, but still, advantage Navi simply because they didn't really blow anything for that.
Yeah, their supports are happily harassing on PL on top, getting a little bit EXP in lane, and Loda completely out of mana. Much thanks to hvost. Nice kind of harass. He's going to be going for the stats build here, focusing purely on stats after the initial 1 point everything. Ice Paths is going to whiff, and if you whiff those Ice Paths, it's no big deal, because you know, you don't really need your mana for anything else. You're not really roaming too much. You're not really challenging the pulls. But sooner or later, I'm going to say that the Alliance support is going to pull ahead. They're constantly pulling these creeps.
I agree, and I just want to echo something you mentioned earlier, which is Funnick is... he's not just winning this bottom lane. This is about as bad of a beatdown as you can see for any matchup in 1v1 solo matchups in modern times, and... Look at the CS, 35 and 23 for Bulldog.
Down by 28 CS.
And Bulldog's 8 and 1. So he's down by 28 CS and he's down by 22 denies. And sure, Clockwork's a melee hero. He's still 2 levels behind. Well, actually, a level and a quarter or so, but that's a long level from 6 to 7. It takes quite a bit of creeps to get there. That is a massive lead.
And, you know, not one of his heroes.
It's not, well, it's not. Oh, they're going to catch out Loda here. He will take a bunch of damage, but S4 lumbers in. He skewers in. There's your Clockwork Hook. Catches out 1. This should be our first blood. They want some more. That's a nice path that, is going to slow down S4 just a touch, but in the end, the first blood will be there, and now they get 2, so great early movement from the Alliance. For Navi, didn't have a teleport scroll on Dendi, had a haste rune and the TP on Funnick, but elected not to come top.
Yeah, very, very surprising to see that. Maybe Dendi says, I don't have TP, and then Funnick says, all right, good luck, guys. We're not going to come in. It's just not worth it. Don't want to have, you know, more targets for S for the RP together. That was a 5-man gank, and it was a first blood and a double kill, so it ended up all right, but Alliance at the same time also wasted a lot of their own time. I don't want to say wasted, maybe better, well spent their time is a better term for that.
Cute little play by Dendi. He's actually sent himself a smoke. He's dropped it in the trees next to his tier 1 and wants to make sure he's got his inventory slots filled out as possible. Going for those 2 early null talismans. Wants to just snowball in this lane and continue to dominate the last hit, or will come Funnick. Yep, hasted in, looking for a lasso here on S4. There's no RP. It's a great time to go, but S4, he knows that 8-minute rune to spawn. He sees the storm off the map, and he is very, as well as the Batrider, and he's very, very suspicious.
Yep. S4 not gonna get that gank off. A little bit of nice plays here. Drops the Arcane Boots, gets Chakra Magic, pick up the Arcane Boot back up a little bit more.
That's really one of his underrated abilities as a mid-solo is S4 doesn't get caught out very often. Like, we saw that in Game 1. Yeah, he got caught out at level 1, but that's about as cloudy of a gank as you'll ever see. A Wisp tether gank into a puck lane at level 1, and even then did it die, but in the mid-game, when you're trying to gank S4, it's nighttime, he doesn't have wards up. Very, very hard to catch him.
S4 is pretty good, too.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks as always, Limmy, for your illuminating commentary.
Yeah, hvost is gonna eat a...
Anybody else want to cast next game? Mid lane. Mid lane will go in on S4. He gets pulled. He gets... And then Ice Path, but there's just not enough damage yet. Dendi, not going to be able to find this kill. They do actually force a Loda TP. He will cancel it, but... pulls a bit of an envy there. Maybe learning from his former teammate.
Yeah,
Carrying that early
fine.
TP. And the event to teleport scrolls as well, I imagine.
He did, after Merlini.
And now bottom lane, we'll see S4 giving chase on the Funnick, who has a flame break soon, but looks to be in trouble. RP is here. Cogs could be thrown out. Nope, actually no mana for them. And now Bulldog will throw out a battery, so the better killing spell. S4 skewers a little bit too far away, but finds the shockwave regardless. The kill is secured, and for Navi, you just have to say, they're just not finding the openings when they do move. We haven't seen much movement out of Dendi. We have seen a decent amount out of Funnick, but just can't find the kills, whereas Alliance, every time they move, seems the kill is there.
It doesn't even sound right when I say this, but Storm Spirit just doesn't have enough to actually get kills at this point of the game.
And he will find Admiral Bulldog, and does get a kill. Smoked up for that one.
I will refrain from talking anymore. Go ahead, LD.
Go smack yourself in the face. Splash some water, Lumi. You need to wake up. You're drunk.
No, every time he goes on the mid lane, like, Magnus is just too tanky with a 900 HP. So.
He really can't kill the Magnus, not by himself. They need the Batrider lasso and the Storm Spirit to bring him down, and they went for it. They would have had a kill if S4 was in the lane, but he was just too savvy.
Yeah, kind of good at dodging those ganks, and it's a very, very slow game. And to me, that favors Alliance, simply because they have a Phantom Lancer, and there's simply no pressure to stop Magnus from getting his Blink. On the flip side, you may say, sure, Funnick is farming his Blink as well, but I think having a Blink on Magnus simply gives your team a lot more higher game impact than a Bat Blink.
The Bat Blink can be equally effective, but it's much harder to be equally effective. You have to basically make sure every time Lasso's off cooldown, you're finding a kill. Whereas for Magnus, you could sit on your RP for 3 minutes, but if you hit one big RP, then the Blink Dagger does as much as the Bat Blink could have done in, say, 3 or 4 ganks. So it's just harder to actually have that same magnitude of success, and I completely agree with you there. The one good thing, though, is all 3 of their core heroes are actually farming quite well. We see now Band of Elven Skin picked up for hvost, so it looks like either he's going to disassemble these boots, and we'll see a zip in mid. They want to go on S4. Oh, he skewered and got pulled back in. That's a perfect timing. Hook will come. S4 still alive, gets off the RP, catches out 3, but there's no follow-up here. That RP looks to be totally wasted, and indeed it will be. 2 heroes dead. It's Navi's turn to strike back, and Lumi, the one last thing I wanted to mention before that broke out, Navi was leading in terms of gold and experience despite giving up a first blood and 2 kills, and now with those kills and potentially a tier 1 mid, really pulling ahead.
Yeah, I'm surprised in terms of how they're leading. I think a lot of it comes from Funnick really out-CSing the Clockwork on the bot lane, as well as Anti-Mage doing a lot better. Well, he used to do a lot better, and now looks like Loda was able to catch up, but he's not helping his team like how Anti-Mage is. So this is very reminiscent of how hvost played in TI2 when he's playing carry. They're always love to jump in from the team, and a lot of teams don't expect that kind of five-man gaming this early in the game.
Yeah, Anti-Mage is actually a pretty serviceable combat carry.
Oh god, S4 just gave away RP.
What?
You know, Roki always get like, oh, he's the best
Oh my god.
pick in the Europe.
S4.
Just S4 dropping the ball, man. S4, I am disappointed.
Wow. I guess he was running in mid to Shockwave and then RP just got stolen?
Just shockwave it in base. Come on.
Oh no, I'm not making excuses. I'm not sure why he was showing his face there. Well, mistakes happen to the best of us, and they certainly happened to S4 there. That's a big mistake.
Yeah.
We'll see if it costs them. It's only a level 1 spell steal, so the RP doesn't actually last all that long. It's a decent duration, but it's not the kind of RP that you steal later, where you're sitting on that thing for 5 minutes.
And he probably has a blink dagger or something like that by that point. But hey, it's still RP. Like sometimes by having a spell or knowing the enemy having a spell, it just makes you play a little bit more defensively or play in a way that you don't want to play. So
yeah, well, they want to play defensive this game. The Alliance does not want to be taking the fight to Navi right now. They're much better off, I feel, maybe if they're 3-on-1, but for the most part, otherwise, should be just counter-initiating and kind of sitting at their towers, playing defensively.
So to answer your question here, it's not going to be Treads, at least not yet. Anti-Mage is going to opt for a Yasha build. It might end up being one of those Manta back into the Battle Fury build, and I know you're a big fan of that build.
It can work. I mean, you could sort of see the thought process behind that build in some games, but the problem is if you go Manta into Battle Fury, you're trying. It's like trying to fight, swim up a waterfall at a certain point. The PL is just going to outfarm you, and they are smoked up, looking to go top. And Puppey, they'll hook in, they'll look to catch him out, he's now cogged, he's gonna drop quickly. But if Puppey dies and they get some trades, it will be worth it. Remember, Kuroki has RP, but S4 able to bring him down. The stolen RP doesn't actually kill them off, but so far that RP that was stolen hasn't amounted to a whole lot. Now EGM caught out, looks like he'll drop to a flame break here. S4 on the run, and in comes hvost, that combat-worthy anti-mage with his early Yasha. Gonna be picking off S4 here, no skewer, no blink, he will go down. A good little engagement there. In the end for Navi. They do lose their Storm Spirit and the Magnus RP blown in exchange for the Rubik RP, so all things considered fairly even, but here's where things get interesting, because Funnick, he'll have his blink, and there's no blink in sight for S4, still about 800 gold away.
S4 really forced to kind of lead this engagement to help his team. They did force out a Twin Head Dragon buyback from Puppey, although that doesn't mean a squat, because buyback at this point, what, 300 gold? It's just like, whatever. But to be fair, he doesn't even have boosted speed at this point here. Puppey playing one of the, I guess, the poorest game I've seen him play.
Yeah, remember, he has been heavily pulling his solos and his carry in quite a few games. He gave some pulled regen to Dendi. He also gave some to hvost, and that slows down your support play because someone's got to buy the wards, and it's the trade-off they make so that Kuroki can have a much bigger impact. Get the early boots, get the early arcanes, get the early blink if all goes well. Now, granted, he's not really farming any of that now, but you expect he'll be getting some farm compared to Puppey later on.
You can see that the entire Alliance team is very, very defensive, away from that smoked up team. You can see that Kuroki looking for the kill. I'm not sure whether they smoked right near that ward between, yeah, the one that you're circling right now. I'm not too sure whether that Alliance just like next level them. Back in the mid lane here, Ammo Bulldog's gonna get pulled, but I think he should be fine in the help of Line as well as S4 right there. So Dendi blows a ton of mana, not gonna get too much done. Speaking of Dendi, he's got no item. He's got like the basics, he's got the treads, but you expect your Storm at this point in the game to have something like an Orchid finish, and he just doesn't have it.
Yeah, if not having the Orchid finish, then you have Oblivion Staff #1 online, you maybe have the makings of the second one, you're getting closer to the Orchid. He's not, I don't even know if he'll go for it this game. If he does, by the time he does, Loda may not be far off a Diffusal Blade of his own. He's got the drums picked up. In fact, he's very close. 2 Blades of Alacrity. Loda is all of a sudden, Luminous, become our lead farmer this game. S4 doesn't have his blink yet, but getting close to it. And so far, we haven't really seen the Funnick blink accomplish too much. Navi, it's just their style. They could kind of take this mid to late game. They have some really good scaling heroes, but it's not going to be the style we saw from Fnatic, where they farm the anti-mage to the Storm heavily. Navi just wants to fight. They want to fight now. They'll go on Admiral Bulldog. They'll lasso him in. They bring him back. He may drop here. That's a lot of nukes thrown out. They do find the kill. Dandy with a double damager and forced to zip away. In comes hvost. Yasha online, no additional items beyond that. Do they go for more kills? That's the real question.
I want to say they can. They do have the double damage still on the Storm Strait.
Here's the problem. There's going to be a blink on S4 in about 3 gold.
Yeah, is he going to pick it up? That's the question here. hvost kind of harass him away. Tier 1 is going to be fortified. I think the blink dagger is going to come a little bit too late. At least for the tier 1.
He steals Earth Spike from EGM. That's another big stun. And they do get the tier 1. Navi, though, they won't see this blink. Won't be surprised at all if the Alliance just goes for a smoke right now.
Yeah, that would be a very, very good play to kind of coming right back at you, something like that.
And
not gonna go for it though.
The thing is, hvost, going for this early Manta style, you won't keep up in farm with the PL when you go this. Well, you might for a little while, but eventually the PL is going to pull ahead, and if you go back for the Battle Fury, an anti-mage with a Manta and a Battle Fury, that's a hero that just wants to go back to farming by that point, and that's right when PL gets to the point where he starts to become very, very combat-worthy with, say, a Manta of his own, and a Diffusal on top of that, or even a Yasha in the makings of a Manta style. We'll see what hvost does, but...
Ooh, bot lane, blink RP into hvost, Hex to follow through, Finger of Death.
Wow.
I mean, you say he's combat worthy, he's still very killable.
He is more combat worthy than a Battle Fury, but it's only so much. He'll go down, and they don't really have a great late game option. Well, Dendy is going to go Ultimate Orb, so trying to get an early sight device, but their lineup has good late game options, but the amount of farm they're getting and the items that hvost is going for, I don't think they're really going to be able to take this late. Not very easily. Not when you look at Loda with Diffusal Blade on the courier coming right now.
They're going to try to turn it around here with a couple of teleportation throw coming in. Dandy most likely is going to initiate, and we're going to see a couple of follow-up here. But look at this ward. They see everything. They're not going to get this yank off.
Yeah, the Alliance with just wards in the right place so far today, and now Funnick, he's going to Firefly up, looking to go. If you're just tuning in, it's Game 2 of Navi versus the Alliance. Navi looking to take a Game 2 and force a Game 3. The Alliance leading the best of 3, 1-0. Your G1 Western qualifiers. So far, so good for the Alliance. They've dodged most of the bullets thrown their way. After a slow start in this game, they've stabilized. Funnick flame-breaking some Navi heroes back. They are smoked up. They're looking to go, but they don't have a Blink RP. All they have is a Blink Skewer. And in the end, they will give up the tower there. hvost, he'll pick up his Ultimate Orb. He will continue working towards that Manta style, but while it's happening, Loda is farming, and Loda is now 32 CS ahead of that anti-mage. hvost was once ahead by a good 20 CS or so. Those times are long gone.
Yeah, keep in mind that some of the CS from both carries are neutral, so... but with that said, I think Loda is going to slowly pull ahead. If he's not already ahead by now, quickly checking on net worth. Yeah, he's ahead by a full 1,000 or 800 or so. And it's going to continue because I don't feel like Navi could actually push down towers. Their heroes are not good for doing that. And they are only going to push down tower if they win lopsided team fights, which I don't see them doing that against a Blink Dagger RP either. So it's going to be tough.
I'm really feeling like the Fnatic style probably would have suited Navi's draft better this game, where you focus more on farming, you go for occasional pickoffs, but Navi has played how they love to play, which is aggressive, balls to the wall, find kills, and kind of snowball from there. Dendy playing his Storm Spirit much more as a roaming ganker. You compare that to Hani. Yes, he went early boots of travel in Game 1 of that Fnatic series, but he was happy to sit back and farm. He had a lot more CS at this point in the game than Dendy did, and it's a difference in style, but I feel this style from Navi just doesn't work as well against the Alliance, whereas had they gone for the early Battle Fury on hvost, like you saw earlier, Bottom, like you mentioned, Yasha doesn't actually help hvost live when he's getting chain stunned, so I feel like Navi, because of some of their item selections and their gameplay decisions and that different style, they're in a bit of a pickle, whereas had they gone more for a farming-oriented style, had they gone angled a little bit more for like a 30-40 minute mark timing for the true aggression, could have been in a much more comfortable position. Even though they're up by 2,000 gold, they're down by 1,000 experience, and basically it looks dead even, but I feel it's really advantage Alliance strategically.
Yeah, I agree with you. To me, it's actually how they laned it. I mean, sure, they even won their laning stage, right? The anti-mage trialing, I chuckle as I say that because that's not really a thing, but Navi made it a thing. They quote-unquote won that trialing, but where did they go from here? Because you have an anti-mage trialing, you can't really go Battle Fury. And now you have this awkward anti-mage with like 900 HP. He has a Manta, or 1,000 HP with a Manta, and sure, it looks cool, and it works, but it can't actually teamfight.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that was the thought process, is we just want to get our anti-mage fighting early. That's why you go for the Yasha, you'd expect that, but I felt with the kind of farm he had, he probably could have gone Battle Fury. He was farming better than that Phantom Lancer, and wasn't really under too much duress, didn't really have to fight early, but now that's all water under the bridge. Navi trying to pressure this tier 2 top, and on the side of the Alliance, they're going to look to defend it. They'll rotate 5 heroes in for this tower, but no glyph available for 7 seconds. Navi, are they going to commit fully? We'll see. hvost lurking in the jungle. Funnick going for a Force Staff. That could be a crucial item for them. With the Force Staff on your Batrider and a Storm Spirit and an Anti-Mage, suddenly you can jump, grab a hero, pull them out of position, and pick them off safely without necessarily getting caught by something like RP or potentially the Lion's Hex Impale combo. So Force Staff could be a crucial item for them. The way they're playing, they're going to need to find those kills, and they're going to need to find them very, very soon.
Loda using the double walk, always making sure that he's leaving a Legion behind. You don't know if that Legion is going to spawn an entire army. Looks like Observer Ward has a scout out Loda as well. He's got that Diffusal Blade number 2 and a Vitality Booster. I love this item choice. A lot of teams, maybe mid lane a little bit trouble. Dandy looking for a pickoff. A lot of players would have just gone for a Yasha or something like that. Something greedy. He knows he needs HP now because this is where Navi want to strike. If Navi's going to win, they're going to win through in the next about 15 minutes or so. And, well, if Loda survives and get a couple of return kill, that Navi chance of victory is going to be a lot more slim.
And he's going to eat them alive with a Diffusal too. This is the single most cost-efficient damage item you can get on Phantom Lancer in the game. Not just the Diffusal one, but upgrading that recipe. It's what, 875 gold, and it gives you so much more damage with every illusion auto attack. It's an absolutely insanely efficient item. They're going to get another tower for Loda. He just got the tier 1 bottom. Now up to 2,000 gold, can go directly into a Yasha if he likes, or look to rush the heart. I feel either is perfectly viable this game, and we'll see what he tries to go for, but in either case, Alliance, by not dying and trading, are in a pretty comfortable spot. Navi leading by 3,000 gold, down by about, well, 200 experience, so nothing. It looks even. I still feel it's really not. And I guess the question is, Lumi, is there something that Navi's waiting for? They'll have a Sight Device soon on Dendi. The Force Staff is coming on Funnick just about any moment, and hvost will go back for the Battle Fury, so maybe they are looking to take the slate.
Yeah, and if you're looking to take it really late against a Phantom Lancer, there are 2 things you have to be very aware of. You gotta keep as many outer towers alive as possible, because Phantom Lancer, he loves split pushing, and if ever it comes into a base race situation, you really want to make sure you have as much structure left as possible. Secondly, you want to look at how many Hex Carriers you could have. Storm Spirit, a fine Hex Carrier. Batrider, a fine Hex Carrier as well, because if you don't have enough Hexes, you're never going to get a kill against that PL. So I think Navi has the hero and have the potential to actually go late game, but they are starting in the wrong foot, I feel.
Yeah, they've made it very difficult for themselves because the amount of fighting hvost has done doesn't really warrant the Manta style he's gotten. Sure, he got the Manta early. He could have been involved in fights he looked to, but when you look at it kind of in hindsight, he's barely fought at all this game, and when he has fought, he's mostly died, so...
0, 1, and 3.
Yeah.
I mean, that says it all.
Yeah, he pretty much just could have been farming this whole time. Had he started with the Battle Fury, he'd have the Manta now, and I think he would have that Vitality booster up too, 25 minutes in easily, if not something a bit more than that. So now, well, Dendi... I heard a zip. Oh, zipping to farm neutrals. Okay. Making me nervous, Dendi. Making me nervous. But I don't think Navi are out of it by any means. I definitely think they can try to take it late. It's just not going to be... It's going to be much more difficult than it would have been had they taken a more aggressive approach to start.
So I guess, guys, we're going to be in a long haul because neither of these teams going to be making too many mistakes, and we're going to be in a farming war where Alliance feels like, yeah, we kind of got the better late game hero, so we're going to farm. And Navi says, guys, we need to farm because we're not winning it right now. So
yeah, basically, stay a while and listen.
Yeah.
For fans of Diablo 2 out there, it's gonna be a long call for sure. And
also earlier when I said that Manta into Battle Fury, one of LD's favorite builds, I didn't mean it like that. It's actually a build that LD hates, but it's all good.
I don't really hate it.
It's just not that effective, and I gotta agree with you on that one.
I mean, I feel like it's, given the way the game's developed, it's probably the best thing hvost can do. It's just, it always feels awkward, and usually when we see the build, it's, if he had just gone for Battle Fury first, ultimately it probably would have been more effective, and you can totally understand the thought process behind getting the Manta. This is just like the 4th or 5th game I've cast the build, and every game where I've cast it, the Battle Fury would have done more. He'd have more farm, he wasn't fighting anyway, or the fighting was ineffective. And at the end of the day, I think Navi, the way they're transitioning is the correct call, and it is going to give them a better shot at winning this game, because realistically, they just weren't finding the kills against Alliance, and while they're busy trying to gank, Alliance is farming to push out the lanes, and they were falling too far behind by allowing that PL to continue to farm, and not really going for late game items would have put them in an even deeper hole. But at the end of the day, Loda's now got a Heart of Terras. 27 minutes in, Heart is up for him. This is a big window. Sure, Denny's got a Sight Device, but you need everything to kill off Loda now.
This is just ugly. That Cypher Vice is going to be the key factor of killing Loda. I feel like they do have enough damage, especially if you just hex him up right in the beginning. I think also with the Cypher Vice pickup, oh, it looks like we're going to see a long range zip here for S4. It's going to be a Cypher up. Where the hell's the Bat Rider's coming in? He's fireflighting in, but I don't even think he even needs it.
Beautiful.
Deadly, flexing his muscle, perfect mana management. Ends up the gank with about like 20 mana left, but getting that kill, key.
Yeah, you always want to make sure that first gank with the Sight Device is effective, finds you a kill, and creates some space for your team. And off the back of that, they will get a little bit more breathing room to farm, but at the same time, you're not killing Loda, so he'll happily push in that bottom lane and force some teleport scrolls out. And I imagine at this point, he'll go back towards a Yasha, and then maybe into a Butterfly, maybe even rushes a Butterfly. He's a bit lacking in terms of attack speed. That's the one downside of going this build. Diffusal Blade gives you a decent amount of attack speed, but not the same as getting something like a Manta style, which the attack speed propagates to all your illusions, and as well as having the additional move speed. So I imagine we'll see one of those two big attack speed items coming out next.
So what about Anti-Mage? Are we going to see something like a Heart for him, or straight up BKB? Or are we going to see a Butterfly?
It's a good question. I'm not really sure that what's the right answer is. You go for a Heart. If you get hexed, I think you might still die. To the PL Illusion army, you don't have magic immunity, so...
Oh, I think if you hex, you're dead for sure, because that RP is going to be right on top of you.
Yeah, so that's where I'm thinking maybe a BKB would serve him better. You won't be taking the mana burn. That's a lot of the Phantom Lancer's damage off the table. You won't eat any of the other nukes. You can't be hexed as long as you get it off. We'll see, but I'm leaning towards the BKB Butterfly, to be honest, because the other thing is, I mean, do you really want to go for the ultra late game?
I mean,
I feel that.
I thought that was the game plan already, right? You already kind of gave up the mid game where you have a chance of winning.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking they're more looking at like, all right, we're not going to win this in 20 minutes. Let's aim for 40 minutes. But maybe they're aiming more like 60 minutes, in which case, yeah, go big or go home. Get the Heart, get the Butterfly. Take it as late as possible.
And put it in perspective, right now, Navi is down one game in this best-of-3 series. If Alliance wins, they are one best-of-3 win away from going to China. And if Navi loses, I mean, it's not like they can't go to China.
Big smoke egg from S4. He will catch up Puppey. He skewers him. A short-range skewer so as not to bring him too close to the tower. But here comes the disruptive Blink Lasso from Funnick. S4 caught out. Now psyched up. hvost comes in, chops him up. Now a very, very hard fight for the Alliance from here. Without the RP, there will be a buyback on S4, but he's a long way from home. Loda, though, not dying, not even dropping low in the midst of this. Did lose most of his mana, and now Navi, they look to get out. Where's your Hex? It comes now. S4, the buyback. He's already back into the fight because of the recall. RP was not used, so in the end, that buyback, well, he doesn't die, he doesn't whiff the RP, but he also doesn't find anyone either.
Go Roche, and I think exactly that's what Alliance is doing. You know the Storm's very low mana, you have a pretty nice amount of headway walking.
I don't think they can do it quickly enough. Navi's gonna, they're 5 alive, and I imagine they're gonna smoke and go right back towards the pit.
Yeah, they don't have the damage. That's kind of the downfall. If you have a hero like a Sven or something like that, then you make that Roche attempt 9 times out of 10. Very key thing that the tier 1 mid is also dead, so they have a little bit of time, but perhaps not against the Storm straight. Too dangerous, and not against a Bat Rider with that kind of mobility. So, very, very safe decision, and ultimately the correct one, I think.
Yeah, if you lose a fight at that Roche, that might cost you the game.
Yeah.
Right there, because all of a sudden, if you lose that fight, hvost has his next item, and Loda doesn't, and they'll have an Aegis on their side as well. So, it's the correct decision, but Navi, the one thing they do have going for them is they have the far superior ability to find pickoffs, and if they could start the fight 5v4, then I don't really think it matters if, in theory, Alliance has more overall potential damage output, because they're never going to realize it without a big RP, without an orderly fight, and can they find an orderly fight? Navi going to try and be disruptive again. They'll head into the enemy jungle straight up the hill, walking right past an Observer Ward, not smoked up or anything. So, well, it won't amount to much in terms of kills, I imagine, but not being challenged by the Alliance either.
Also, the key thing in these team fights to watch out for is that if you're the Lion player, you cannot show your face until deep into the fight, because if you show yourself early, you are getting blinked on, you are getting focused by either the Anti-Mage or the Storm Spirit, and you're not gonna do too much. And that's kind of what we saw in the previous best of 3 that we just casted from EG. Like, Beatus just did not have a good time in that one game he played the Lions. So look towards EGM staying very, very far back.
Yeah, how far back is safe, though?
He's got Blink, so...
Yeah, but Storm has 1,300 mana, which probably lets him move... I mean, I don't know exactly, but 5,000 units, probably?
Well, as long as he's hidden, like in some trees or somewhere, or if he's smoked up.
And then there's Firefly to spot you out. So I agree with you, he does need to stay hidden. That's completely true. It's much easier said than done. I guess that's
it's
the point.
hard. It's hard.
This is one of the hardest lineups to actually stay hidden in. But if he can get a big Blink Hex on Dendi, who doesn't have a BKB yet, that can just win them the fight instantly. Because every fight so far has been Dendi, well, the past few fights anyway, just moving around freely and unchecked and getting the jump. If the jump goes the other way, or the counter initiate is there, then it's a much different fight and a much harder one for Navi.
So I'm looking at net worth right now, and PO is about 2,000 gold ahead, and 2,000 gold is actually not that much. So
yeah,
it just comes down to how Phantom Lancer uses gold a lot better than Anti-Mage and makes him a better late game carry. And you can fully see the power of that Battle Fury still, even after if it's a Manta into a Battle Fury, how it still accelerates your farm quite a bit and allows him to play catch up.
Yeah, and it's keeping them in the game. It's letting them take it later. And the thing is, Dendi's going for that early Scythe of Ice has proven to be so effective. Even when he's not finding kills, the threat of that Scythe is so much scarier than something like an Orchid would be, or even a BKB. And the ability to project your power halfway across the map is something, and know that even if Phantom Lancer has a Diffusal Blade, he can't purge off Scythe. He will be hexed. It makes Loda a little bit more reluctant, and particularly it makes the other heroes on the Alliance a whole lot more reluctant. So the Scythe is paid for itself. It gives them more of a late game angle, and if we see something like a BKB or Scythe coming out on Funnick, you mentioned the Scythe, I think it would be a great choice. Navi do go quite late.
Yeah, I think they have to. Funnick does have that 2.3k gold. Could go for the Ultimate Orb if that's what he wants right now. Maybe perhaps saving for buyback. You don't know if, let's say, Funnick gets out of position and Alliance decides to Roshan. If you don't have buyback there, you lose Aegis. So maybe playing it ultra safe, and the game's gonna go long, so better be safe than sorry.
Yeah, and that's where things like Hiroki stealing RP could come into play, and what makes it easier is he's got a Blink Dagger. It's not particularly fast at that, but he's got the Blink down there. Might find Loda jungling, but not an easy hero to kill. And if you go on Loda, and then S4 shows up and RPs you, Bulldog comes in and hooks you, any of the above, could be very bad. But if they find S4 to start the fight, that's really what they want. And he's slightly out of position mid, but he will get back to his team.
So my question is, at what point does Alliance says, all right, guys, we are done farming, let's go win the game? Because I mean, as much as PL enjoyed going into the ultra late game, there is a certain point of the game where he loses to, you know, frontal engagement. He's not that strong going heads up.
Yeah, there's also a point in the game where his team really can't help out the way that a hero like Storm or the Batrider can. And I think that might be the bigger issue, but you get the Butterfly. I think you try and win a fight and get the Aegis, and then you look to end this game. And maybe he could farm a Manta style. Obviously, Boots of Travel is an option. Like, there's room for him to grow. But Navi, and I don't think any one of Navi's heroes out-carry him, but Navi as a unit, those 3 cores, and the Rubik maybe stealing RP, definitely can take it later, or at least as late. So we'll see, but I imagine it's like another 5-10 minutes. Get the Butterfly, have buyback, try and get a Roach, try and win one fight, and then you'll go. And beyond that, it's really uncharted territory, and if anything, it's probably something Navi will be happy to do.
Yeah, speaking of Roche, we haven't seen a single Roshan attempt in this entire game, and that's pretty odd for 35 minutes of, you know, intense farming. And I gotta say, that credits to Navi's kind of explosive initiation. You really can't go into the pit, where Anti-Mage suddenly could blink in, Bat as well, Storm just blinks in as well, and half your team could be dead. You don't want to fight in a congested area if you're Alliance. You gotta stay hidden, you gotta stay mobile, especially against these guys. If you're, you know, Lion, if you're the Keeper of Light. And so far, they're doing an okay job staying alive.
If you're just tuning in, it's Game 2 in a best-of-3. The Alliance currently leading that best-of-3 1-0 on the back of a sensational and very, very devastating performance. They took Game 1 in the best-of-3. They are 1 game away from being one of the top 3 teams in this tournament, guaranteed. And one game away from being one series away from taking a land slot at the G1 League LAN Finals, the most prestigious event outside of the International 3, speaking of which. Lots of details on that one being released. We will be hosting the Eastern qualifiers for it. Very excited, but for now, it's all about some good old-fashioned Western Dota, and it's been a great day of games so far. I'm kind of rooting for Navi just because I want to see a Game 3, but either of these teams very, very deserving if they end up qualifying, and I think a lot of people wouldn't be surprised and might even expect that Navi and Alliance will be the two teams that advance, even though Fnatic played very well today. I think the overall sort of fan feeling is that these are the two strongest teams right now in the West, and we'll see if that's indeed the case, but so far, they're really duking it out.
Yeah, the big thing to point out in about next, I want to say, minute or so is that Stormseer has a double damage, and that could give the Radiant a leeway to go for a little bit more aggressive gank than they would have if they didn't have that DD, but obviously Alliance is playing so defensive that you don't even find these ganks, so it's pretty much a moot point.
Yeah, hvost has gone back for a BKB. He's getting close to a Butterfly, and that's really the danger zone. Once Anti-Mage has BKB, Manta Style, and Butterfly, he really does a lot of work. He'll check out the Roshan Pit. He'll back on out of here. It's going to be that delicate dance, but I don't think either team is in any sort of hurry to actually commit to a Roshan engagement. More, they just don't want to have a fast one pulled on them. But to actually go into the pit, easily could cost you the game.
Very awkward. Okay.
Well, we'll have our very unusual admin pause.
You know what this reminds me of?
Tony, go home. You're drunk. And now hvost will pause.
Okay, so story time, since we're kind of in a long game and we need to restart computer. All right, story time. So this is one, you guys know Clairvoyance, right? A caster that I guess exploded into popularity by casting with Toby a lot of times. In one of his first time casting, he was casting with Shiver. And that's when you could say Clairvoyance was...
Oh my god, what is this? What is this game? Okay, story time.
Can I throw one in as well? Can I unpause the game and be a dick? No? Okay.
Please don't.
Clairvoyance was... Tree can't pauses. Clairvoyance was casting with Shiver, you know, when he was still very green as a caster. And he was getting excited commentating during a team fight, and he hit F9 by accident, like in the middle of a game. And Shiver was freaked out, like, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? And that was the only time I saw Shiver being like really so. Clairvoyance definitely.
Yo, Clairvoyance goes ham, man. No matter what.
He does. He wouldn't ham on the pause button on that one day.
Yeah,
though, it's not good.
He doesn't just press the pause button, he hams it up there. And as ham as you can be. And is that enough ham? Is anybody hungry? S4 almost has his BKB. Back to the game. It looks like the pause wars, the great pause wars of 2013 are over for the time being. And currently, it's Navi leading by about 4,000 gold. Basically nothing. Up by about 7,500 experience. A bit more substantial, but still, when it comes right down to it, this is one of those games that will be decided by the team's execution in the fights, not by their heroes, not by their strategic position or power curves by any means. So a game that's very much in the balance, a game that either team could look to win, and a crucial game for both teams at that.
So for me, oh, what is Funnick doing? He wants to blink and try to perhaps find illusion? No. Just want to destroy that big army. I think Navi says if they want to win now, Funnick goes Shiva, and you finish BKB on Storm, and you go push. If they want to still go for the ultra late game, then Funnick turns us Mystic Staff into a Hex. So I'm basically going to pay attention to Funnick, see what he builds, and gonna see how they're gonna go for this game. I think it's time to go Shiva and try to end it now.
Yeah, it could go Scythe of Ice, but that requires quite a bit more farm, and we'll see what he goes for. hvost picks up his Butterfly. Big items all being acquired right now, and very strong in the fights is this Anti-Mage. PL, over the course of a sustained fight, will definitely do more, but that quick burst where the Anti-Mage jumps in, pops the Manta Style, starts whacking you with a Butterfly-enabled mana-burning illusions. If he catches out, say, a Keeper of the Light in the midst of his team, can easily blow up 3-4 heroes with a big Mana Void and end the fight. So hvost definitely the more explosive carry, Loda the scarier one in the longer fights. And let's see what kind of a fight it's going to be as Navi start to scout out around that Roshan pit.
Yeah, Loda trying to sneak a quick one with Empower and right clicks. Not exactly the best Roshan hero, as his illusions will all disintegrate whenever they do spawn, so...
Now back to kind of a defensive dance. We haven't seen a Roche 40 minutes in. It's 16 kills. That's nothing. A lot of aggression early in this game, Luby, but it has ground to a total halt.
Rising Dota, guys. 16 minute or 40 minutes, 16 kills.
Welcome to the 2010 Chinese metagame.
Hey man, I love it. I love it.
makes you a happy camper, Lumi. That's for damn sure. They're gonna go in Roche and look to sneak it. It's actually quite low and dropping quickly. And I don't think the Alliance are gonna be ready for this. They're giving up a Roche. They're not getting anything in return. Loda streaming towards the pit. Nope, he's gonna go back to the jungle. It's a free Roche. It goes to Navi. They'll give the Aegis to hvost. I thought maybe you give Dendi that one instead, but either way, a big little steal there. A big steal there, and nothing that the Alliance could do about it.
A very small, large steal.
Yes, yes. That's what you guys come here for. The polished presentation that only Beyond the Summit can offer.
All right, so Shiva's picked up. You have Aegis, you have BKB on Storm, and you just picked up a Butterfly on Anti-Mage. It's go time.
Yeah, go win the game. That should be the objective for Navi. Over the course of this Aegis, if not win the game, then at least take one lane of Rax, try and get severely superior map control. And can they do it? We'll see. hvost getting closer to his next item, and you know, you get that next item, you get, I imagine, the Abyssal Blade. Generally, that's what you would want, is just the best combat item. If he wants to go for a little bit more sort of survivability, he could go towards a heart, but you already have BKB for that. And I imagine they'll like to get a Vlad's on one of these supports so that hvost can stay in the fights a lot longer. Lifesteal is crucial for dealing with the PL illusions. Just in terms of, sure, they're not mono burning you, but you still lose a lot of HP because of that 4.2 agility gain. And he's going on the tower here. He's got Aegis. He'll muscle it down quickly. And I think the Alliance, you just don't take a fight outside your base.
Yep. hvost also going ham. His hero's pretty good too.
Yeah, I don't consider hitting a tower going ham.
He's hitting it very quickly.
Yeah.
With ferocious impact per hit. Look at his damage.
hvost lifts, man. This anti-mage definitely works out.
I think Kurogi lifts more. They give each other lifting lessons.
It's a bro relationship. We'll have a go here for Funnick. He's fireflied up, looking for an initiation. Not jumping in yet. Now he will. It's a long way to jump. There was no Hex from EGM, just out of range. If he gets the Hex there, that could be the end of this engagement. They will impale hvost, but he got the tower down already. Loda trying to trade top lane. Can he get there in time? That's the big question. Can he outpush this anti-mage? hvost slicing through the creeps. Meanwhile, Loda about to break the high ground. He will force a teleport back. Mission accomplished. But at the same time, Navi, they get a tower. They don't really give anything up for that, aside from some TP scrolls. So if anything, they come out on top. But for the Alliance now, it's all about just waiting the Aegis out.
Yeah, no, I actually think that's Alliance advantage because it's going to be a long while to Navi to breach that bot lane once again. This right now is ample enough opportunity for Alliance to actually push out the bot, but instead of doing that, they're electing to do a big smoke gank. If you get a successful gank off against Dendi, you buy yourself a ton of time. And let's see.
Don't be fooled. There are 5 heroes here because Loda can be recalled in. But Navi showing some very good map sense and not getting caught playing patient as this game drags on. And also kind of being forced to play patient because, look out, the PL Million Man Army is here.
Yeah, that's, again, they're waiting out the Aegis. And once that Aegis is gone, it don't matter if you snuck a Roche. It doesn't matter.
Right, the gold, the 1,000 gold is basically nothing at this point in the game. It's a nice little bonus, but nothing that's going to decide the game. And for the Alliance, they'll just continue to kind of look for openings, but very cautiously so. They won't be aggressive in doing so. It's more hope that Navi tries to force something when they're waiting in the wings.
Here we go. We're going to see a tier 2 tower siege. Remember what I said about 20 minutes ago when we saw, you know, the anti-mage trying to go battle fury, thinking that they'll go late game? It really comes down to how many tier 2 towers you keep alive. That's going to be the ultimate important
Lumi,
thing.
I'm watching hvost right now. This is some aggressive play from him. He's going to charge right in, whacking away on that illusion. Man, does it take a while to bring down. He'll blink forward. He wants to find these other heroes. The backup is coming. It comes in the form of Funnick. He'll jump in, but hvost is going to immediately be brought low by those PL illusions. Will he BKB? That's a big RP. That's going to catch out a few. 2 dead. The Batrider hits the deck. The Aegis down. Dendi out of mana. Tries to zip away. He lost everything to this Phantom Lancer. Too big. I'm not sure they can deal with him. Now Kuroki on the run. It's going the wrong way, Lumi. hvost already Aegis down. Now Kuroki to fall. 2 heroes dead. It was all about Alliance. Just wait for Navi to be too aggressive and punish it. Beautifully done. And in the end, the Alliance were more patient.
The first life of the Aegis did not do anything because he blinked in, got scythed, and Loda and his rest of the team decide to turn around and go for the big kill on AM. And why aren't they trying to go for the win?
I think you have to assume that Well, actually, there is no buyback on
Yeah, if they have buyback, make them prove it that you have buyback. Maybe they just are too afraid of the fact that they do have buyback and they don't have RP. If the fact that if they have buyback and they suddenly jump on you, can lose a lot more.
That's the thing is if they do have buyback and you try to run, you're not getting away. With Storm, Batrider with Blink Force Staff, and an anti-mage, they will run you down. So, and with not having RP, that's the other big thing. S4 doesn't have RP. Why risk it? You can play it safe. You got rid of the Aegis. That time bomb isn't ticking for the moment. Go back to farming. Let Loda farm up his buyback, Boots of Travel, and work towards that final item slot beyond it. And once he gets there, then you really will want to end the game. But for the time, we do see the power of PL. If it's a longer fight and he doesn't die immediately, he wins because his illusions will do a lot more sustained damage. And the other thing is, hvost really needs lifesteal in these fights. Sure, he's got all this big damage. He needs lifesteal and he needs a basher. He doesn't have the item slots for that. He's going to need a teammate to buy a Vlad's for him. I really feel that's a crucial pickup at this point in the game.
You gotta imagine that team fight started out pretty well for Navi, because if a team fight started out with the Phantom Lancer having 8 or 9 illusions, you don't win that team fight ever. Oh, looks like they're gonna initiate. They're gonna find the right one, and RP, it's ready to go. But can they burst down Loda? That's a good question. He's got the heart. He's siphoned down to about half HP. Hookin is gonna miss. Dendi pops BKB. He could come out immediately. He's gonna focus on Admiral Bulldog. Where the hell is the RP?
hvost!
Coming on hvost. hvost down to about no health. He's gonna be dead. He's gonna be blinking out, and Lion is hot on the trail. I don't think they're gonna find him. Second Blade's gonna be coming there. And that should be it in all these engagements.
Meanwhile, at the base, Poppy being just driven back by the illusions won't go down in the end. But that's another BKB charge down the drain, and as they get shorter, his ability to get to fight is going to get worse and worse. All things considered, the Alliance just continues.
What the hell are...
Whoa, he's gonna fight Admiral Bulldog. He will get a kill there, but the Impale comes in. I don't think EGM is gonna kill him off. S4 is here as well. No, Monovoid doing so much work. hvost manning up, getting 2 kills and looking to get out. Dendi calls hvost the best player on Navi, and sometimes, Lumi, it's natural to say, hvost, what are you doing? But he shows you he knows what he's doing here.
Okay, I take it back. hvost, pretty good player too.
Everybody pretty good. Dendi comes in once S4 will be able to bring him down. That's 3 heroes dead. And Roshan coming in a few minutes. They won't get it.
Get Roshan. Go mid, guys. Go for the win. Skull Basher being picked up. I think you go for it now, right? Again, if they have buyback.
Yeah, you'll go for it, but Loda's just going to push top immediately. And you'll be trading with the Phantom Lancer, who's basically maxed.
Well, AM's got the travels. Unfortunately, it's been cooled down. And, well, here comes a big army.
I don't know what hvost is thinking here.
hvost? Holy
yeah,
crap,
that's not a fight he can win. And now he's got to go back to base, so, well, they're not pushing without him. That kind of hurts them. I mean, he did have to push out that top lane, but it's just he can't fight the Phantom Lancer army.
He's going to try. He's going to have to heal back up and go back up top. But I got to say, that was some expert ham being done here by hvost earlier. Because any other player saw he was at half HP, or I think a quarter HP, would have ran away from a clockwork in the line. Manned up, double kill. Pretty decent place.
We're getting closer and closer to epic territory. Only 23 kills in, but every fight just feels packed with meaning. It's the G1 League Western Qualifiers. Navi currently trailing the best of 3, 0-1. If they lose this game, they drop down to the losers bracket, but they won't be out of the tournament just yet, and it's going to be an interesting game as it continues to develop. The Alliance, they're up 1-0. They just need the one more game. They really took it to Navi in Game 1. But Game 2 has proven to be a much taller order. Can they finish the deal? Can they close it out? They're down in terms of gold by about 6,000. They're down in terms of experience by over 15,000, which sounds like a lot, but experience has diminishing returns. Doesn't mean that much at this point. It still, I feel, really comes down to execution and who gets the initiation off, just like it did 10, 15 minutes ago. hvost, he wants to end it with some anti-mage illusions working on the tower. Won't be able to do a whole lot of damage, but will force them back. Now he'll blink away. Roche is coming soon, Lumi. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, for me also, it's going to be the big item pickup for the Anti-Mage, the Abyssal Blade. Remember how the previous team fight started where they initiated with Flaming Lasso on Loda and then they siphoned it up, they tossed him back and forth through a couple AoE spells. They ultimately can't kill him. If you have Skull Basher or Abyssal Blade, you focus him down quick with Anti-Mage right click. So now Loda, even though he's so very tanky, he's very killable. And same thing with AM. AM's definitely killable if he's RP'd up and if he gets focused. So
yeah, the one concern is if he's not hexed, then the evasion really comes in from the butterfly, and Loda has one. So sure, you get this Abyssal Blade, you can still use the active on him, but if you're not hitting him reliably, if that 35% evasion is in play, which it will be unless he's hexed by our Storm Spirit, then We'll see if the bashes are there. hvost will need some good luck, though, because he's fighting against the RNG with that.
Also, hvost is completely maxed out at this point, so...
So is Loda. Loda 6-slotted as well.
Alright, time for Carry to get some wards, get some gems for the team, get some smokes.
Yeah.
Because you're pretty much done.
You're done. Maybe you could sell and replace an item. I feel, you rebuy your BKB potentially for hvost, not now, but maybe in 10-15 minutes. But yeah, you're not going to pick up any big items. Unless you want to pull a CTY and start swapping items out, and I don't really think there's a better item build for either carry at this point. Maybe hvost would want an MKB, but that's really about it, and I don't know what he would replace to get that MKB.
So Loda going straight into the Roshan pit, seeing AM pushing up top, and I think AM... Did they not realize that Roshan's going on? They got an Ice Path check or something.
They know. They have to know.
Top, though. It doesn't matter whether they know or not. hvost is right in your base, and...
Yeah, it looks like they're content to give up some structural damage to get this Rosh.
I don't think this is right.
Oh, they're going to give up the Aegis. Magnus will actually pick it up. They get caught in the pit. If they try to TP home, a lot of those TPs will probably be canceled. S4 going to get caught out. He got the Aegis. He's going to just lose it immediately. And in comes the huge cluster F of a fight. Bulldog and AGM on top of Denny, who's just doing work. That was an incredible impale stolen by Kuroki. Hits everyone. While this is happening, hvost is raxing them. They weren't able to get back to the base. They got the Aegis. They blew it immediately, Lumi, and they get basically nothing in return. What a great little engagement from Navi, and it's like you said, probably not. There was no way they were going to get that and get back to defend, because Navi were never going to let them TP out.
What the hell was that? Can I quote clairvoyance and start to go ham here?
I don't. You're no clairvoyance, man.
Yeah,
you're much.
I'm not that ham.
Yeah, you're much too nice to be flaming like that. We'll put it that way.
That was horrible though. Like, I don't think they lose the game on this, but the game just got a lot harder. I don't think a single Rax means anything because it's so easy to actually push things out.
Yeah, the thing is though, they were committed at that. Oh, S4 will get caught out here. This is really bad if he goes down. I don't even know if he has buyback. He is actually 50 gold short, I want to say.
He's gonna have it. He's gonna have it. Although he just bought a teleport scroll.
Oh no, he still laid his buyback further. I don't think Navi realized, but well, maybe they.
No. He has buyback ready. 1431.
Okay, it's telling me no. It's saying buyback status no. Maybe that's a bug.
It's on cooldown? I'm clicking on the hero and I'm hovering over it and it's looking good for me.
Yeah, it must just be a bug with the buyback status menu, as he clearly does have it going over to the hero.
A feature. It checks whether casters are paying attention. Thank you, pal.
Checks whether you can still do math.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was not a good trade for the Alliance, and now it gets a bit easier for Navi, because the top lane will always be pushing, so the next Rosh attempt will be easier, and they have a lineup that will pick you off when you're busy pushing out the lanes. With Dendi now having a Mystic Staff going towards what looks to be a Shiva's Guard of his own, that's going to really help them deal with these Pillow Illusions and allow them to pick him off. I don't think the Alliance are out of it, but they just made this game way harder than it was 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, they have... it's okay. I mean, again, a single Rax doesn't mean too much, especially when you're pushing down the mid like that. Ice Path, you didn't know which one's the real thing, though.
Dendi taking a decent amount of damage. It's actually Loda who gets Flame Break back in. There's a zip from Dendi. He wants to go. We'll catch Loda out. He's lassoed. He's pulled back in, but he's not really dropping. Where is hvost to deal the damage? He's actually bottom lane, looking for a second lane of Rax, and Loda gonna go down here. Loda gets picked up. hvost is Raxing them. He's taking that second lane, and there's nothing they can do about it. It looks like it'll be 2 lanes of Rax unopposed and a death for Loda, who buys back immediately. And the Alliance just crumbling under the pressure, self-destructing here in game number 2. And Navi getting closer and closer to that deciding game number 3.
I don't know, man.
He's got 11,000 gold, by the way, so if there's...
Well, gold doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah, you get a fresh BKB, you buy a Divine, why the hell not?
I don't know whether you buy a Divine. That seems pretty thrown.
Pretty questionable, but a man could dream.
A man definitely can dream. hvost could blink in and Manta the hell out of Aki right now. Aki does have that ghost up here, so maybe not. And I think Navi looking in position to kind of go in. I feel like the last 5 minutes of Dota has not been the best play Dota of Alliance's life. Like, they were playing very good turtle, and then the mobility of Anti-Mage just really shut them out of control. EGM, does he still not have a point in monitoring? I don't know, EGM.
Yeah, you really want to point him.
That.
You really want to point him Mana Drain because it actually dispels illusions if you use it on them, and well, it doesn't have a point in it. It's still a very difficult battle, even with that point in Mana Drain, but every little bit would help at this point, and I feel like hvost is winning Navi this game right now. His decision-making, it seemed aggressive, but every aggressive decision has been paying off for him for the past 8 minutes. He's a player who gets a lot of flack from the community. I was actually reading our Skype mods chat just to make sure there weren't any stream issues, and apparently the stream was going nuts with the hvost disband, hvost retired, just Twitch having some fun. They'll go in now, and they will kill off Ake. Now hvost looking for more. He'll back up. He'll turn on to S4. S4 gonna go down, not with a bang, but with a whimper, and on to Bulldog. There will be an illuminating blast. Or rather, he's gonna stop. Yeah, he's gonna stop him from auto-attacking for a moment's time. Loda chasing on to Dendy. Dendy is out of mana. Loda trying to fight a kill. The hook from long range from downtown from Bulldog picks him up, and hvost has not been dealt with. Will it matter though? He's getting caught out by Loda. The RP from S4 after the buyback. Now, was it stolen? It was. Jams them both down together. They're taking so much AoE damage. They will go down, and Navi probably winning the game right here. They'll bring Loda down. No buyback for him. Straight for the throne. Straight for the third lane of Raxa. Navi are going to a game 3.
Playgoo as the anti-mage blinks in, and the fun stops now. hvost is pretty good, and Dendy comes in as well. They find Lion. Lion's gonna be dead, and it's just a surgical extraction of the entire Dire base. And there you go, game 2 in the books, and we got ourselves a series. It was a doozy 56 minutes of really churling gameplay for the last 5-10 minutes. What a game of Dota, guys.
It was 8-8 at like 36 minutes. There's just been a flurry, an explosion of kills since then, and we wanted this game to go to the distance. We have ourselves a ball game, ladies and gentlemen. Navi and the Alliance gonna be going to a deciding game 3. This one is it's for all the marbles for this match, and it means so much in the overall state of the tournament. This best of 3, winner of this match moves on to play Fnatic EU in your winner bracket grand finals, and the winner of, well, winner bracket finals, I should say, and the winner of that, they go to China. So one of these two teams is going to be in that top 3, guaranteed, and the loser of it, they'll have a much tougher road. They'll have to fight their way through the likes of Team Liquid, Evil Geniuses, and Dignitas, the 3 North American representatives. The throne will die now. Game 3 is in the offing. It promises to be quite impressive, potentially epic. I'm hoping for something spectacular. The Alliance was flawless in Game 1, just about. In Game 2, was good early, but just choked in the end. I don't think there's anything else you can say.
Maybe it was choke. Maybe it was just one poor decision making that spiral out of control. I don't want to predict. It's just a lot of things going through the player's mind. It was a spectacular game nonetheless, and hopefully Game 3 will match up to Game 1 and Game 2.
Yeah, Navi, they bounce back. They force that Game 3. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm LD. He's Luminous. Stay tuned. The deciding Game 3 for today's G1 League Western Qualifier action comes up right after this.